Hello everybody, it's Riff Raff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault. Today we're doing a monster review. And once again, carrying on with the ongoing theme we've had with subterranean monsters from the original Monster Manual for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. And it's appropriate. Once again, 50-year anniversary this year. This particular Monster Manual came out in, well, it kind of depends on where you were, but really it was 1978. And it was a huge addition to a game that had only been fleshed out in very basic terms in the original basic Dungeons & Dragons game, which, as I said, is 50 years old this year. So today's wonderful monster is a little bit different than the ones we've been looking at so far, because this is really a medium to high level monster that would be typical for lower to medium level characters to run into in the most epic confrontation that would happen in a dungeon, the boss level, if you will. And today we're talking about the Purple Worm. And for good reason. The Purple Worm is huge, and it likes to swallow pretty good-sized objects whole, and it can engulf them entirely. I believe it's up to about an 8-foot tall object. In this case, mainly adventurers. It does a hell of a job on humans, dwarves, obviously. We can't escape them. But I should clarify that we can't escape them in normal terms. These are really big creatures. Okay, they can be 40, 50 feet long, 8 to 10 feet in diameter, and they sense vibrations under the ground. So a moving party inside of a underground dungeon, or frankly even on the surface, though that's much less likely, are able to be sensed by this evil, foul creature and attacked. Well, the attacking is pretty straightforward. It's got a big mouth at one end. It attacks you with that. If it engulfs you, you're going to be dead within 6 melee rounds. And you'll be digested in, I think it's like 10 or 12 turns. Once you're digested, can't be resurrected. Now, there is an advantage. You can escape, if you're alive, in those first 6 melee rounds. But you have to cut your way out. It's not hard to cut your way out of a purple worm up to a certain point. The inside has a very low armor class. I think it's like a 6 or a 7. So you can definitely get through it with a weapon. But the outer layer is a little bit different. That's where its armor is, and it also has like a fat layer that as you cut through it, every hit gets a -1 added to it, and it's cumulative. So at the first one, it's -1. But by the time you get to the 5th or the 6th, it's -5 or -6. So it's very difficult to get through that last layer. But if you do, you're out. And you can run away or attack or whatever you want to. So it's kind of like a Jonah and the whale story. I mean, you can get swallowed, but you can't escape. Very interesting aspect to this creature, and it makes for a very fun encounter. We're going to have a upcoming fail tale about that. So, what can you do about this creature? Well, if you're a low-level character, easy. Run. Plain and simple. No negotiation. They don't have intelligence. And don't attack them from behind, because they have one last trick. And that one last trick is a stinger in the tail. If it gets you, save versus poison, or die. Pretty nasty creature. As a low to mid-level character, you want to be careful with these. They can only really be attacked in groups. If they attack you, the best thing you can do is run. And if one of your character members falls behind, just be glad you're a faster runner. Now, high-level characters, you can beat these up, but it takes a while. These are, I believe, I think it's a 15 hit dice creature. You're not going to chew through those very quickly. And given the obvious size of the creature, you can tell that it's going to take a while to kill. If you have good, powerful magic, that's a good alternative. Catapults work. But as you run into these, mostly underground, and because they tend to ambush after following you by your vibrations as a group walking through a dungeon, you're usually taking these on in very constricted environments. And in tight spaces, they're not going to be very easy to deal with. If nothing else, I mean, just think of something this long, this big, it rolls over you. Ouch. So it can definitely do a number on you. And as a boss level or high level encounter within a dungeon that is not high level, they make a very effective boss. They really do. Now, in a higher level dungeon, purple worms are not so difficult to destroy, but they still have all the attributes that they normally have. So they can still swallow you. They can still poison you. There's things that they can do that aren't going to make it easy for you to get them, especially getting them killed quickly. So, in talking to the members of the extended HornhelmClan and reviewing this particular creature, everybody thought that the purple worm was a dangerous and worthy opponent from a player standpoint. Yes, they're not smart, but they're big, and they have a terrible way of screwing things up just because of their size. So players, when I talked to them, said, as a low-level player, it's like an 8. As a medium-level player, a couple notches down, maybe a 6. High-level character, you're probably talking a 4. But they are a serious opponent no matter when you run into them, no matter what your level is. Now, as a DM, I like throwing these in there. They've really generated some fun encounters where people have thought it was easy and then found out it wasn't, or they thought it was much harder than it was and made it worse for themselves by running around in circles with their hair on fire. You know, the typical things that you'll see party members do in response to a significant creature. So, really like the purple worm. Have used them a lot over the years. I'm sure that as a player, you must have run into one, at least one by now. If you haven't, well, be prepared and count your blessings. So that's our take on the purple worm. We think it's a very effective creature. If you're not using it, consider using one. If you haven't fought one yet, you might want to read up on it. And we hope that you enjoyed today's presentation. If you did, give us a like, consider subscribing, leave us a comment, come back and see us again real soon. Remember, dwarves rock!